I pressed my lips to the dying stranger's mouth, tasting blood and something wild, something that made my wolf, who'd been silent my entire life, suddenly scream awake inside me. But I'm getting ahead of myself. 12 hours into my shift, and Mercy General's ER smelled like disinfectant and bad coffee. My feet ached, my scrubs had someone else's blood on them, and I was counting down the minutes until I could go home and sleep for a week. Then the paramedics burst through the doors. Male, approximately 30, found unconscious in Blackwood Forest, the lead medic shouted, pumping the gurney past me. Massive trauma to chest and abdomen, BP's dropping, we're losing him. I grabbed my supplies and ran alongside them. When I got my first good look at the patient, my breath caught. He was huge, even unconscious and broken. He radiated a presence that made the air feel heavy. Dark hair fell across a face that might have been handsome if it wasn't covered in blood. His chest had been torn open, claw marks, if I didn't know better, deep gouges that should have been fatal. What the hell happened to him? Dr. Morrison demanded, snapping on gloves. Don't know. Hikers found him like this. I helped transfer him to the trauma bed. The moment my hands touched his bare shoulder, electricity shot up my arms. I jerked back, startled, but no one else seemed to notice. Emilia, get me 2 units of O negative, Morrison barked. I moved on autopilot, but I couldn't stop looking at the stranger. His injuries were catastrophic. No one should survive what had been done to him. Yet as I watched, I could have sworn the wounds looked less deep than moments before. He's crashing, someone yelled. The monitors screamed. His heart rate flatlined. Morrison started compressions. Come on, damn it. 1 minute, 2, 5. Doctor, he's gone, the attending nurse said quietly. Morrison stepped back, shoulders sagging. Time of death, 3:47 a.m. No. The word exploded in my head with such force I staggered. Every instinct I had screamed that this was wrong, that I couldn't let this happen. Emilia, what are you doing? Morrison snapped as I pushed past him. I didn't answer. I couldn't explain the compulsion driving me forward. I just knew that if this man died, something essential would die with him. Something mine. I started compressions, throwing my weight into it. His chest was solid as stone beneath my hands. Nurse Hayes, step back. He's gone. No. I positioned my hands, tilted his head back, and bent down. The moment my lips touched his, the world exploded. Power detonated between us like a bomb going off. It roared through my blood, igniting every nerve, burning away everything I thought I knew about myself. His mouth was warm, tasting of copper and pine and something dark and intoxicating that made my head spin. Then his eyes snapped open, molten gold. Not human, not even close. His hand shot up, fingers tangling in my hair, gripping the back of my neck with bruising intensity. Our faces were inches apart, and when he spoke, his voice was gravel and thunder. Mine. The word resonated through my bones, my blood, my soul. Something inside me recognized it, answered it with a hunger that terrified me. Around us, chaos erupted. The wounds on his chest knitted together before our eyes, flesh and muscle weaving back into place. The monitors exploded in showers of sparks. Every light in the ER flickered and burst, plunging us into darkness lit only by emergency lighting. And inside me, something that had been sleeping my entire life woke up screaming. Pain ripped through my body. My bones felt like they were cracking, reshaping. I tried to pull away from the stranger, but his grip held me in place, his eyes boring into mine. Easy, he murmured, and despite everything, his voice calmed the storm raging inside me. Easy, little mate. I've got you. What's happening? I gasped. Your first shift. The doors to the ER exploded inward. Men in black tactical gear poured through, weapons raised. They moved with inhuman speed, their eyes reflecting the emergency lights like animals. There! One of them shouted, pointing at us. The king! Gunfire erupted. The stranger moved faster than my eyes could track. One second I was standing beside the bed. The next I was underneath him as he shielded my body with his, bullets thudding into his back. He didn't even flinch. "Stay down," he growled, his voice vibrating through me where we touched. More gunfire, screaming. Someone, Morrison maybe, yelling for security. The stranger's body tensed, and I felt the power gathering in him like a storm about to break. He rose to his knees, still covering me, and roared. The sound wasn't human. It shook the walls, shattered the remaining windows, and sent the armed men stumbling backward. Some dropped their weapons to cover their ears. Others simply ran. Then his strength gave out. He collapsed on top of me, his weight crushing, his breathing laboured. Blood, his blood, dripped onto my scrubs. "No," I heard myself say, my hands frantically checking his new wounds. "No, you can't. Alpha King." More voices, but these ones weren't hostile. "We've got you, sir. We've got you." Hands pulled him off me. I tried to hold on, tried to follow, but the pain inside me surged again. My vision blurred. The world tilted. The last thing I saw was those gold eyes fixed on my face, and the last thing I heard was his voice, rough and desperate. "Protect her. With your lives, protect her." Then darkness swallowed me whole. I woke up in silk sheets. For a moment, I just lay there, staring at an unfamiliar ceiling. Not my ceiling. Not the hospital. This ceiling had exposed beams and recessed lighting and looked like it cost more than my yearly salary. "You're awake." I bolted upright, immediately regretting it when pain lanced through my skull. Sitting in a chair beside the bed, an actual bed, massive and expensive, was the stranger. Except he wasn't a stranger anymore. Every cell in my body recognized him. He looked different in the soft lamplight. Cleaned up, whole, devastatingly handsome in a way that made my mouth go dry. He wore dark jeans and a black t-shirt that did nothing to hide the muscle underneath, and those eyes, those impossible gold eyes, watched me with an intensity that made me shiver. "Where am I?" My voice came out hoarse. "Somewhere safe?" He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "How do you feel?" "Like I got hit by a truck." I touched my temple, trying to organize my scrambled thoughts. "The hospital, the men with guns, are being handled. That's not an answer." His mouth curved slightly, almost a smile. "No, it's not." We stared at each other. Now that the immediate danger had passed, I didn't know what to do with the recognition thrumming through my veins, the certainty that this man was important in a way I couldn't begin to explain. "What happened to me?" I whispered. "In the ER, I felt, your first shift. You're a werewolf, Emilia. You always have been. But your wolf was dormant until..." "Until?" He stood moving to the window. Even his casual movements held coiled power. "Until I woke her? Until our bond activated." "Our bond." He turned back to me, and the raw possessiveness in his expression made my breath catch. "You're my mate," he said simply, as if it explained everything. As if it wasn't the most insane thing I'd ever heard. "And you just made yourself a target for every enemy I have." Wanting to see what would happen next? Subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 2, I stared at the man, Dominic he'd called himself, like he'd grown a second head. "Your mate?" I repeated slowly. "As in, soulmate? That's what you're telling me?" "More than that." He moved away from the window, each step deliberate and predatory. "The mate bond is sacred among our kind. Two halves of one soul, bound together by forces older than civilization. When true mates meet, their wolves recognize each other instantly. What you felt in that hospital, what you're feeling right now, that pull toward me. It's not going away, Emilia. It's only going to get stronger." I swung my legs over the side of the bed, needing distance. My body protested the movement with a symphony of aches, but I pushed through it. The room was enormous, all floor-to-ceiling windows, expensive furniture, and a view of the city skyline that told me We were very, very high up. Where exactly are we? The steel tower, my private residence, top 3 floors. Of course, the steel tower. I'd seen it from the highway, the most exclusive building in the city, all black glass and steel, rumoured to have a waiting list years long for the lower floor condos. The penthouse was supposed to be owned by some reclusive billionaire. Apparently, that billionaire was a werewolf king. I laughed, but it came out slightly hysterical. This is insane. Yesterday I was a normal nurse. Today I'm supposedly a werewolf with a mate bond to some alpha king. Do you hear how crazy that sounds? I know this is difficult. Difficult, I whirled on him. I blacked out at work. I woke up in a stranger's bed. There were men with guns. And you're telling me everything I thought I knew about myself is a lie. Dominic's expression softened slightly. Not a lie, just incomplete. He gestured to a seating area near the windows, a plush sofa and 2 chairs arranged around a coffee table. After a moment's hesitation, I sat, if only because my legs felt shaky. He took the chair across from me, giving me space. Let me start at the beginning, he said. My name is Dominic Steele. I am the Alpha King of the North American Werewolf Territories, which means I govern every pack from Alaska to Mexico. I've held this position for 15 years, since I was 25 years old. I did the math. That made him 40. He didn't look it. Our world exists alongside yours, he continued, hidden, but not separate. We have laws, hierarchies, territories. Most shifters live integrated into human society. You've probably met dozens without realizing it. But we answer to our pack structures and ultimately, to me. And you expect me to just believe all this? Look inside yourself, Emilia. You felt the change starting. Your wolf is awake now. You know I'm telling you the truth. He was right, damn him. Something had fundamentally shifted inside me. I could feel it, a presence, a consciousness that was me, but also not me, like having a roommate in my own body. Even if I believe the werewolf part, I said carefully, that doesn't explain the rest. Why would I have some dormant wolf? Why would it wake up now? Dominic leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Because you're not just any werewolf, Emilia. You're from the Silver Moon bloodline. The name meant nothing to me. But the way he said it, with reverence and something like awe, made my skin prickle. The Silver Moon wolves were ancient, powerful beyond measure. They had abilities other shifters don't, healing powers, prophecy, the capacity to strengthen their mates' abilities exponentially. They were counselors to kings, protectors of our laws. 25 years ago, a rival faction wiped them out, every last one. My mouth went dry. 25 years ago. You would have been an infant. Somehow, you survived. Your mother must have hidden you, suppressed your wolf to keep you safe. His gold eyes burned into mine. When your lips touched mine, when you gave me your breath, your healing power activated. It saved my life and revealed what you are. I shook my head, trying to process. My mother never said anything, never even hinted. She was protecting you. If anyone knew a Silver Moon survived, you'd have been hunted. By those who wanted to finish the genocide, and by those who'd want to use your powers. Use me how? A Silver Moon mate bond is the rarest, most powerful connection that can exist between shifters. You don't just complete me, Emilia. You amplify my strength, my healing, my authority. Together we'd be nearly unstoppable. The way he said it made heat curl low in my belly. I forced it down, forced myself to think rationally. Last night you were dying. What happened? His jaw tightened. Ambush. I was meeting with the Western Territory Alpha to negotiate a trade dispute. Someone poisoned the wine with wolfsbane before I arrived. By the time I realized, it was too late. Wolfsbane shuts down our healing, our strength. My men got me out, but the poison was already spreading. They dumped me in Blackwood Forest, hoping I'd die before anyone found me. But the hikers found you, brought you to my ER. Fate. The word was soft but absolute. It had to be fate, Emilia. Of all the hospitals, all the nurses, you were there, you saved me, and in doing so, you bound yourself to me. I stood abruptly, pacing to the windows. The city sprawled below us, lights twinkling in the pre-dawn darkness. Somewhere down there was my apartment, my life, my mother. My mother. I need to call her, I said. She'll be worried sick. I never came home from my shift. Emilia, no, I don't care about mate bonds or bloodlines or whatever this is. My mother needs to know I'm safe. I patted my scrubs, realizing I had no phone, no wallet, nothing. Where's my stuff? Dominic stood slowly. Your belongings are being cleaned and returned. But calling your mother right now isn't safe. Not safe? She's my mother. And now that you're connected to me, she's leverage. His voice was gentle but firm. The people who tried to kill me, they saw what happened in that ER. They saw you save me. They know we're bonded, which means they'll use anyone you love to get to you, to get to me. Fear, cold and sharp, sliced through my anger. You're saying they'd hurt her? I'm saying they'd do worse than hurt her if they thought it would give them an advantage. I wrapped my arms around myself, suddenly cold, despite the warm room. Everything was spinning out of control. 24 hours ago, my biggest concern was whether I'd have time to grab coffee between patients. Now I was supposedly mated to a werewolf king with enemies who'd kill my mother to weaken him. I want to go home, I whispered. I can't let you do that. I spun to face him. You can't keep me prisoner. I'm not. He moved closer, and despite everything, my traitorous body swayed toward him. I'm trying to keep you alive. The attack at the hospital was witnessed by dozens of people. Your face, your name. It's all over the supernatural network by now. Every enemy I have knows exactly who you are and what you mean to me. Then maybe I should reject this bond. Cut whatever connection we have and go back to my normal life. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Dominic's eyes flashed full wolf, not just gold, but glowing, and the power that rolled off him made my knees weak. You don't understand what you're suggesting. His voice was barely human, rough with his wolf's rage. Rejection would destroy us both. The pain alone could kill you, and even if it didn't, your wolf would never forgive you. You'd spend the rest of your life feeling like half of yourself was missing, torn away and bleeding. So what? I'm just stuck with you. I don't get a choice? You always have a choice, Emilia. But choices have consequences. We stared at each other, the air crackling between us. Part of me, the new wolfish part, wanted to close the distance, to touch him, to give in to this magnetic pull. But my human brain, my rational mind, recoiled from the loss of control. I need time, I said, finally. I need to think. Dominic nodded slowly. I'll have food brought up. You should eat, rest. We can... His phone rang, cutting him off. He frowned, pulling it from his pocket. Whatever he saw on the screen made his expression go hard as granite. What is it? He didn't answer, just tapped the screen. A video began playing. My mother's face filled the display and my heart stopped. She was bound to a chair, her lips split and bleeding, a bruise darkening her left cheekbone. Her eyes were wide with fear, but when she spoke, her voice was steady. Emilia, baby, don't! Someone off camera backhanded her. I lunged forward with a cry, but Dominic caught me, holding me against his chest as the video continued. A man moved into frame, tall, scarred, with dead eyes. Hello, King Steel. And hello to the little silver moon bitch who saved him. My blood turned to ice. Here's how this worked, the man continued conversationally, circling my mother like a shark. Your mate is going to reject the bond, publicly, in front of the council. She's going to make it very clear that she wants nothing to do with you, that saving your life was a mistake. No, Dominic growled, his arms tightening around me. If she does this, we'll return her mother, mostly intact. The man smiled, revealing too many teeth. If she refuses, or if you try to find us, we'll send her back piece by piece. You have 48 hours. The video ended. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. My mother, my strong, stubborn, protective mother who'd raised me alone, who'd worked double shifts to put me through nursing school, was being held by monsters because of me. We'll get her back. Dominic's voice was low and lethal in my ear. I swear to you, Amelia, we will get her back. I twisted in his arms to look up at him. How? If I don't reject you, they'll kill her. If I do reject you, my voice broke. You said it could kill us both. It won't come to that. You don't know that. His hands came up to frame my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. They were still more wolf than human, blazing with fury and something darker, something possessive. Listen to me very carefully, little wolf. The bastards who took your mother just made a fatal mistake. They think you're my weakness. They think they can use you to control me, to make me vulnerable. Aren't I? I whispered. You said the mate bond. They're wrong. His thumb stroked my cheekbones with devastating gentleness. You're not my weakness, Amelia. You're my greatest weapon. A Silver Moon bloodline werewolf bonded to the Alpha King? We're not just strong together. We're unstoppable. Something fierce and wild unfurled in my chest. My wolf, responding to his certainty, his absolute confidence. But I don't know how to be what you're describing. I don't know how to fight or use these supposed powers or... Then I'll teach you. He released my face but caught my hand, threading our fingers together. The contact sent sparks racing up my arm. You felt it in the hospital. The power that moved through you when you saved me. That's just the beginning. Your bloodline was legendary for a reason. Even if I could learn, 48 hours isn't enough time. We don't need 48 hours. We need enough time for me to track them. His smile was all predator, and for that, I need you to trust me. I looked at our joined hands, felt the rightness of his touch despite everything. In the space of one night, this man, this werewolf king, had upended my entire existence. He'd revealed truths I wasn't ready for, claimed a connection I didn't ask for, and dragged me into a world of violence and power I couldn't begin to understand. But he was also offering me a choice. I could run, could reject this bond, this fate, this impossible situation. I'd lose him, lose a part of myself I'd only just discovered. And my mother would still die, because there was no guarantee these monsters would keep their word. Or I could stay, could fight, could become whatever this Silver Moon legacy meant and rain hell down on the people who'd dared to threaten the woman who'd given me life. My wolf knew which choice to make. She'd been howling for it since the moment those dead eyes appeared on screen. I met Dominic's gaze, saw the wolf looking back at me, felt the bond between us pulling taut with anticipation. If I do this, I said slowly, if I stand with you, I want to be clear about something. Name it. I'm not doing this because of some mystical mate bond. I'm not doing it because you're a king or because I'm supposedly from some powerful bloodline. I squeezed his hand hard enough that my knuckles went white. I'm doing this because they took my mother, and I'm going to make them regret it. The smile that spread across Dominic's face was beautiful and terrifying. That's my girl. He extended his other hand to me, palm up. An invitation, a partnership. Choose, little wolf. Run and lose everything, or stand with me and burn them all to the ground. I looked at that outstretched hand, felt my wolf surge forward with eager recognition, felt the part of me that was still human and terrified and completely out of my depth. Then I thought of my mother's split lip, her bruised face, her courage in the face of monsters. I placed my hand in Dominic's. Let's burn them, I said. His fingers closed around mine, and power, his, mine, ours, exploded through the bond like wildfire. Wanting to see what would happen next? Subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 3. The power that surged through our joined hands was like nothing I'd ever experienced. It felt like touching a live wire, like standing in the heart of a lightning storm. Like every cell in my body suddenly remembered it was capable of miracles. Dominic's eyes blazed pure gold. There it is. Can you feel it? Feel it? I think I'm about to explode. That's the bond recognizing itself, your wolf meeting mine. He drew me closer until we were barely inches apart. But this is just the surface. The real power comes when we're fully bonded, when we mark each other. Mark? His gaze dropped to the curve of my neck, and heat flooded my body. A claiming bite, it completes the bond permanently, links our lives, our strengths, our souls. Once marked, no force in existence can break what we've forged. I pulled my hand free, needing space to think. The loss of contact felt like tearing away skin. Let's focus on saving my mother first before we talk about permanent soul linking. Something flickered in his expression. Disappointment, maybe, or understanding. Agreed. But to save her, you need to learn control. Your wolf is awake but untrained. Right now you're dangerous, to yourself and everyone around you. Then teach me. Oh, I intend to. He glanced at his watch. It's almost dawn. We have 46 hours left. Come on, there are people you need to meet. The pack headquarters was not what I expected. I'd imagined something rustic, maybe. Cabins in the woods, a lodge with elk heads on the walls. Instead, Dominic brought me to a sprawling compound hidden behind ordinary-looking warehouses in the industrial district. Once through the security gates, though, the illusion fell away. The main building was sleek and modern. All reinforced concrete and bulletproof glass. Armed guards patrolled the perimeter. Surveillance cameras tracked our every move. It looked less like a werewolf sanctuary and more like a military installation. Welcome to the Apex, Dominic said, leading me through sliding steel doors, the heart of North American pack operations. Inside, the space opened into a massive atrium. Werewolves moved through the halls with purposeful efficiency, some in business attire, others in tactical gear. Every single one of them stopped to stare at me as we passed, their nostrils flaring slightly. They can smell the bond, Dominic murmured. Smell that you're mine. I'm not a possession. No, you're something far more valuable. His hand found the small of my back, possessive and protective. You're the future of this pack. They just don't know it yet. He led me to a conference room where 3 people waited. They stood as we entered, their attention laser-focused on me, with an intensity that made my skin prickle. Emilia, my inner circle, Dominic said. Marcus, my beta and second in command. Marcus was massive, even by werewolf standards, maybe 6'5", built like a tank, with iron grey hair and scarred knuckles. His expression was pure skepticism as he looked me over. She's human-raised, he said bluntly. No training, no pack experience, no connection to our world. How is she supposed to help us? She saved my life, Dominic replied, his tone brooking no argument. And she's Silvermoon. That makes her more valuable than all of us combined. If she is Silvermoon, we don't know. I know. Dominic's alpha power filled the room, making everyone except me instinctively lower their eyes. Question my judgment again, Marcus, and we'll have a problem. The beta subsided, but his distrust remained obvious. Celine, head of combat training. Dominic gestured to a woman who looked like she could break me in half. She was all lean muscle and coiled violence, with platinum hair pulled back in a severe braid and cold grey eyes that assessed me like I was a particularly disappointing sparring dummy. How much combat experience, she asked. None. I'm a nurse. Perfect. Her smile was all teeth. I love starting with blank slates. The third person stepped forward, an older man, maybe 60, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Dr. Richard Chen, pack physician, it's an honor to meet you, Miss Hayes. The Silvermoon bloodline was legendary for its healing capabilities. I'd love to run some tests if you're willing. Tests? Nothing invasive. Blood work, reflex assessments, baseline measurements. Your abilities are extraordinary. Understanding them could benefit the entire pack. At least someone here didn't look at me like I was either useless or dangerous. Sure, Doctor, once my mother is safe. Of course. He inclined his head respectfully. Dominic moved to a large screen on the wall, pulling up maps and surveillance photos. Sebastian Cross, Alpha of the Western Territory, former ally, current threat. He's been consolidating power for years, absorbing smaller packs, building alliances. The Wolfsbane assassination attempt has his signature all over it. A photo appeared. A man in his 50s, silver-haired and distinguished, with cold blue eyes. He looked like he should be running a corporation, not kidnapping people's mothers. If he's so powerful, why does he need my mother, I asked. Leverage, information, access to you. Dominic's jaw tightened. He knows what you are now, knows that bonding with a silver moon would make him nearly invincible. Taking your mother ensures you'll come to him. So, we go get her. It's not that simple, Marcus interjected. It's obviously a trap. They want you to walk right in. I don't care if it's a trap. She's my mother. And you'll be dead in 5 minutes without training, Selena said flatly. Your wolf might be awake, but you don't know how to use her. You're a liability. Every protective instinct in me bristled. Then stop wasting time talking and start training me. Celine's expression shifted to something almost like approval. Finally, something useful out of your mouth? Training room, now. The next 6 hours were the most brutal of my life. Selena was a merciless instructor. She pushed me past exhaustion, past pain, past what I thought were my limits. She made me shift partially. Just hands to claws, just eyes to wolf, until I could do it without thinking. She taught me to use my enhanced senses, to track by smell, to hear heartbeats from across a room. And then she beat the hell out of me in hand-to-hand combat. Again, she barked as I picked myself up off the mat for the 20th time. Blood dripped from my split lip. You're faster than humans now, stronger. Use it. I lunged at her. She sidestepped effortlessly and swept my legs. I went down hard. Pathetic. Your wolf is screaming at you to let her help, and you keep fighting her. Stop thinking like a human. I am human. Not anymore. She hauled me up by my arm. That weak, scared little nurse. She died the moment your wolf woke up. Accept it or die for real. Your choice. Rage flooded through me, hot and wild, and not entirely my own. My wolf surged forward, and suddenly everything sharpened. Selene's next attack came at me in slow motion. I could see the shift of her weight, smell the leather of her gloves, hear the whisper of air as her fist cut toward my face. I moved without thinking, catching her wrist and twisting. She grunted in surprise as I used her momentum against her, throwing her over my hip. She landed on her back. For a moment, we both froze. Then she laughed, a genuine sound of delight. There she is, the wolf. Do that again. We went for another hour, and this time I held my own. Not winning, but not getting demolished either. My body learned the new rhythms, the enhanced reflexes. My wolf and I began to work together instead of fighting each other. During a water break, I noticed Dominic watching from the observation window above. He'd been there the whole time, his gaze never leaving me. Even from this distance, I could feel the weight of his attention, the possessive pride radiating through our bond. He's been up there for hours, Selene said, following my gaze. I've never seen him this focused on anyone. You've got him twisted up good. I didn't ask for any of this. No one asks for their mate, but denying it won't make it go away. She took a long drink. For what it's worth, you're tougher than I expected. Most human-raised wolves can't handle this intensity. My mother's life depends on me not being useless. Something in her expression softened. Then let's make sure you're ready. The next exercise changed everything. Selene had me practicing with one of her assistants, a young wolf who'd taken a nasty cut during training. The wound was deep, bleeding freely, and would take hours to heal even with werewolf metabolism. Touch it, Selene instructed. What? Your bloodline are healers. Touch the wound and focus. Skeptical, I placed my hand over the injury. The moment my skin made contact, power flowed out of me like water through a broken dam. Light, actual golden light, emanated from my palm. The wolf gasped as his flesh knitted together, the wound closing in seconds. I snatched my hand back, staring at it in shock. What was that? That, Dr. Chen said, appearing in the doorway with a tablet, was extraordinary. Your healing ability doesn't just work on your mate. You can transfer life force to anyone. Do you realize how rare that is? I flexed my fingers, still feeling the residual tingle. Is that why Sebastian wants me? To be his personal healer? More than that, Chen pulled up genetic charts on his tablet. I've been researching your bloodline. The Silver Moon wolves weren't just healers, they were amplifiers. A Silver Moon mate doesn't just heal their alpha, they enhance every aspect of their power: strength, speed, authority, even lifespan. With you at his side, Sebastian would become the most powerful werewolf in existence. The implications made me feel sick. I wasn't just a person to these people. I was a weapon, a tool, a means to ultimate power. I need air, I muttered, heading for the exit. Dominic caught me in the hallway. Emilia, don't. I held up a hand. I just need a minute. You did well in there, better than well. You're incredible. I'm a prize to be won. That's what your doctor just made very clear. His expression darkened. You're not a prize. You're my mate, my equal, my... He stopped, jaw working. You're what? My everything. The words were raw, honest. I know this is happening fast. I know you're scared and overwhelmed and barely holding it together. But you need to understand something, Emilia. I don't want you because of your bloodline or your powers. I want you because my soul recognized yours. Because when I was dying and you breathed life back into me, it felt like coming home. The sincerity in his voice made my chest tight. Dominic, you don't have to feel the same way, not yet, but give us a chance. Give yourself a chance to see what we could be together. He reached up, gently wiping blood from my lip with his thumb. The touch was electric. Before I could think better of it, I rose on my toes and pressed my mouth to his. The kiss exploded between us like a bomb going off. Dominic made a sound low in his throat, one arm banding around my waist to pull me flush against him. His other hand tangled in my hair, angling my head to deepen the kiss. I could taste his hunger, his need, his absolute certainty that I belonged to him. My wolf howled in triumph, clawing to get closer, to mark him, to complete the bond. The pull was overwhelming, a magnetic force that made every nerve ending sing. His body was solid and warm against mine, his heart thundering in time with my own. It was perfect, terrifying, too much. I wrenched away, breathing hard. I can't do this right now. Dominic's eyes blazed gold, his control visibly fraying. Why not? Because I'm losing myself. The words burst out before I could stop them. 24 hours ago, I knew who I was. Now I'm some legendary bloodline with powers I don't understand. They're feeling things for a man I just met that are so intense they scare the hell out of me. If I give in to this bond completely, what's left of me? Where does Emilia Hayes go? His expression softened. Nowhere. The bond doesn't erase who you are. It enhances it. You'll always be you, fierce and stubborn and determined. The mate bond just means you won't have to be those things alone anymore. Before I could respond, Marcus appeared at the end of the hallway, his face grim. My king, we have a location. The intelligence came from one of Dominic's informants in Sebastian's territory. My mother was being held in an abandoned warehouse on the waterfront, isolated, easily defended and obviously a trap. We go in anyway, I said immediately when they laid out the tactical situation. With overwhelming force, Marcus added, 2 teams, one as distraction, one for extraction. Sebastian will expect that, Dominic countered. He'll have counters in place. Then what do you suggest? Celine asked. Dominic's gaze found mine across the conference table. We give him exactly what he wants. Amelia walks in the front door. Absolutely not, Marcus snarled. As bait, Dominic continued. I'll be with her, playing the desperate mate, while they're focused on us, ma'am. The rest of you infiltrate and locate her mother. I nodded slowly. It could work. It's too dangerous, Dr. Chen protested. Everything about this is dangerous, I shot back. But if it gets my mother out safely, I'll do it. We spent the next hours planning. Weapons were distributed, communication equipment checked, contingency plans established. The sun was setting by the time we loaded into vehicles and headed for the waterfront. I rode with Dominic, silent and tense. The closer we got, the more my wolf grew agitated, sensing danger. Something's wrong, I murmured. It's a trap. We knew that going in. No, I mean something's really wrong. I can feel it. He took my hand, threading our fingers together. Stay close to me. No matter what happens, stay close. The warehouse loomed ahead, a hulking structure of rusted metal and broken windows. It looked abandoned, but my enhanced senses picked up multiple heartbeats inside. Maybe 20, maybe more. We parked a block away. Marcus and his team peeled off to find alternate entry points. Selena led her combat unit to establish a perimeter. Dr. Chen remained with the vehicles, ready for medical support. That left Dominic and me to walk through the front door. The massive sliding door stood open, an invitation. Inside, a single light illuminated the center of the cavernous space, and there, standing in that pool of light, was my mother. Mom. I started forward, but Dominic's hand on my arm stopped me. Wait, look at her. I looked, really looked. My mother wasn't tied up, wasn't injured. She stood calmly, her posture relaxed, wearing clean clothes and no visible marks despite the beating I'd seen in the video, and her expression when she saw me wasn't relief or fear. It was guilt. Hello, sweetheart, she said quietly. A man stepped out of the shadows beside her, Sebastian Cross, looking exactly like his photos, distinguished, dangerous, and completely in control. Welcome, King Steel, and welcome to the lovely Amelia. His smile was cold. So glad you could join us. Let her go, I demanded, moving forward. You wanted me to come. I'm here. Let my mother go. Oh, Amelia. My mother's voice was soft, almost pitying. You still don't understand. Understand what? She exchanged a glance with Sebastian. He nodded slightly, granting permission. I'm not a prisoner, baby. I never was. The words didn't make sense. What are you talking about? The video? You were beaten, threatened. Stage makeup, misdirection. My mother stepped closer, and I saw it now. No real bruising under her eyes, no swelling on her lip. I'm sorry, sweetheart, but you're worth more than you know, and Sebastian offered me something Dominic never could. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. No, you're lying. You're my mother. I'm also Sebastian's spy. She said it matter-of-factly, like announcing the weather. Have been for years. All those times we moved, all those new cities. I was tracking packs, gathering intelligence, searching for one thing. Me? I whispered. You, or specifically any surviving Silvermoon. Sebastian moved to stand beside my mother, his hand resting on her shoulder with disturbing familiarity. Your mother has been very patient, very thorough. She suppressed your wolf, kept you hidden, isolated you from our world. Also, I'd be the first to claim you when the time was right. The warehouse doors behind us slammed shut. Werewolves emerged from the shadows, dozens of them, all armed, all loyal to Sebastian. We were surrounded. Dominic moved in front of me, his body a shield. You'll never have her. Won't I? Sebastian's smile widened. Tell me, King Steel, have you completed the mate bond? Have you marked her? Made the connection permanent? Silence. I thought not. The bond isn't complete until you mark each other, which means, technically, she's still fair game. He pulled out a wicked-looking knife, the blade silver. Kill Dominic, and she'll be free for me to claim. A Silver Moon mate would make me unstoppable. With her healing and amplification abilities, I'd unite all the territories under my rule. The era of the Steel Dynasty would end, and the Cross Empire would rise. Mum, please. I stepped around Dominic, desperately searching her face for any trace of the woman who'd raised me. You can't let this happen. I'm your daughter. Something flickered in her expression, regret maybe, or remembered love. But it died quickly, replaced by cold determination. You're my ticket to survival, Emilia. In this world, power is everything. Sebastian promised me a place in his new order, protection for life. Your father's bloodline made you valuable. I'm just cashing in on that value. My father? This was the first she'd ever mentioned him. Who was dead, along with the rest of the Silver Moon pack. But not before he gave me you. She looked at Sebastian. Do it. Kill Steel, claim the girl. And let's be done with this. Sebastian's wolves moved in. Weapons raised. Dominic's power exploded outward. Alpha authority so intense it drove several of them to their knees. But there were too many, and silver bullets didn't care about authority. Emilia, Dominic said quietly, not taking his eyes off the enemy. Remember what I told you. You're not my weakness. I felt it then. The bond between us pulsing with power and promise, the healing abilities, the amplification, everything my bloodline was meant to be. I'm your greatest weapon, I finished. Sebastian laughed. How touching. It won't save you. He raised his hand, giving the order to fire, and that's when my wolf rose up and showed them all exactly what a Silver Moon could do. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 4, power exploded from me like a supernova. Silver light erupted outward, slamming into Sebastian's wolves and throwing them backward. The warehouse shook with the force of it, metal groaning, windows shattering. For a moment, everyone froze, friend and enemy alike staring at me in shock. I stared at my hands, glowing with that impossible silver radiance, and felt my wolf rise fully for the first time. Not fighting me, not separate. We were one. Emilia, Dominic breathed, awe colouring his voice. Then the first shot rang out and chaos erupted. Sebastian's wolves recovered quickly, opening fire with silver bullets. Dominic moved like lightning, taking down 3 before they could reload. His pack burst through windows and side doors. Marcus leading the charge, Celine a blur of lethal efficiency. But we were still outnumbered. For every enemy that fell, 2 more appeared. One of Dominic's wolves, a young man I recognized from the compound, took a bullet to the chest. He went down hard, blood pooling beneath him, his eyes already glazing. No! I ran to him without thinking, dropping to my knees. My hands found the wound, and instinct took over. Silver light poured from my palms into his body. I felt the bullet, foreign, poisonous, wrong, and used my power to force it out. His flesh knitted together, his heart restarted, his eyes snapped open with a gasp. Get up, I told him. Get back in the fight. He scrambled to his feet, staring at me like I was a miracle. Another scream, another fallen wolf. I ran to her, healing the silver burn across her throat, pulling her back from death's door. And another, and another. Each healing took something from me. I could feel my own life force draining, my energy depleting, but I couldn't stop. Wouldn't stop. Every wolf I saved was one more fighter against Sebastian, one more chance to win. Dominic fought his way to my side, blood streaking his face. You're killing yourself. They need me. I need you alive. He grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at him. You can't save everyone, Emilia. You have to... His eyes went wide. Blood bloomed across his chest. Behind him, Marcus twisted the blade deeper before yanking it free. The Beta's face was cold, emotionless. Nothing personal, King. Just business. Marcus? I couldn't process what I was seeing. What are you? Sebastian pays better, promises more. Marcus wiped the blade, silver, coated with something dark and oily, on his pants. Your little dynasty is over, Dominic. Time for new leadership. Dominic staggered, his hand clutching the wound. I could smell it. Wolfsbane, concentrated and deadly, spreading through his system. No! I lunged for him as he fell, catching him before he hit the concrete. No, no, no! Fall back! Marcus roared to Sebastian's wolves. Mission accomplished. Fall back. They retreated in organised chaos, covering each other's escape. I saw Sebastian grab my mother's arm, dragging her toward a rear exit. She looked back once, her expression unreadable, then disappeared into the darkness. Celine appeared at my side, bloodied but alive. We need to get him out of here now. I can heal him? Not here. Not with hostiles still around. Move! Between Celine and two other wolves, we got Dominic to the vehicles. Dr. Chen took one look at him and went pale. Wolfsbane. Concentrated dose directly to the heart. He looked at me, his expression grave. Even with your healing, I don't know if... Get us to the compound, I snapped. I'll save him. The drive back was a nightmare. Dominic's breathing grew laboured, his skin grey. I kept my hands pressed to the wound, pouring healing energy into him, but the wolfsbane fought me. Every bit of poison I extracted was replaced by more spreading from the blade's coating. Stay with me, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. Dominic, stay with me. That's an order from your mate. His eyes flickered open briefly, unfocused. Emilia, run! I'm not running. I'm never running from you again. By the time we reached the compound, I was barely conscious myself. I'd used so much life force that my hands shook, my vision blurred, but I wouldn't let go of him. They carried Dominic to the medical wing. Dr. Chen tried to take over, but I pushed him away. Leave us, I said. Emilia, you're in no condition. I said leave us. Power crackled in my voice. Not just mine, but something older, deeper, the authority of my bloodline. Everyone out, now. They obeyed, even Celine, though she looked like she wanted to argue. Alone with Dominic, I finally let myself feel the full weight of what was happening. This man, this impossible, infuriating, wonderful man, was dying. Again. Because of me. Because my mother had betrayed us. Because Marcus had betrayed him. Because I was valuable enough to kill for. I didn't ask for this bond, I told his unconscious form, my voice breaking. I didn't ask to be some legendary bloodline or to have all this power. I was happy being a nurse, being normal. His breathing hitched, growing shallower. But I'll be damned if I let someone else decide how my story ends. I placed both hands over his heart, feeling the erratic flutter beneath my palms. You told me I'm not your weakness. You were wrong. We're both each other's weakness and each other's strength. And I choose you, Dominic Steele. I choose this bond. I choose us. I leaned down, pressing my forehead to his. So you don't get to die on me. You don't get to leave me alone in this terrifying new world. I need you. And I think I might love you. The admission broke something open inside me. All the resistance, all the fear, all the desperate clinging to my old life, it shattered like glass. I finally understood what Dominic had been trying to tell me. The mate bond didn't erase who I was. It revealed who I'd always been meant to become. Drawing on instinct older than memory, I bit into my own wrist. Blood welled up, rich with my silver moon heritage. I pressed it to Dominic's lips, forcing him to drink. My blood for yours, I whispered. My life for yours. My strength for yours. Then I leaned down and bit his shoulder, not hard enough to cause real damage, but deep enough to mark, the mate mark, the claiming bite that would complete our bond permanently. Power exploded between us. Not like before, not a surge or a spark. This was a detonation, a fusion. Our life forces merged, intertwining, becoming something greater than either part alone. Silver light erupted from my body, so bright I had to close my eyes against it. I felt my wolf surge forward completely, no longer separate, no longer hesitant. She emerged in a cascade of luminescence, and for a moment I wasn't sure where I ended and she began. The wolfsbane in Dominic's system burned away like paper in a fire. His wounds closed, his heart strengthened. Our bond solidified into something unbreakable, a connection that hummed between us like a living thing. And the healing didn't just flow from me to him anymore. It flowed both ways. His alpha power crashed into me, amplifying my abilities, magnifying every aspect of my bloodline. I could suddenly sense every life force in the entire compound. Hundreds of heartbeats, each one distinct. Each one a flame I could nurture or extinguish. Dominic's eyes snapped open, blazing, pure gold. "Emilia." "I've got you," I said, and meant it in every possible way. He sat up slowly, his hand going to his shoulder where I'd marked him. The bite was already healing, but it would scar, a permanent reminder of our bond. When he looked at me, I saw my own silver light reflected in his eyes. "You completed the bond." "I did." "You could have died." "I didn't." I held up my hand, still glowing faintly. "The bond didn't take my life, it transformed it. I can feel everything now, your strength, your power, your presence in my mind. Is this what you've been feeling all along?" Amplified 1,000 times. He cupped my face with both hands, his touch reverent. "You're magnificent." Terrifying and magnificent. Sebastian wanted a weapon. I felt my lips curve into something that wasn't quite a smile. Let's show him what a Silver Moon healer bonded to an Alpha King can really do. We found Sebastian's compound by following Marcus's scent. The beta had gotten sloppy in his escape, too confident of his victory. His trail led straight to Sebastian's stronghold, a fortified estate in the mountains, surrounded by guards and defensive measures. 50 wolves at least, Celine reported, studying the compound through binoculars. Heavy weapons, reinforced positions. "Doesn't matter," I said quietly. Everyone turned to look at me. In the 3 hours since completing the bond, I'd transformed. Not just my power, but my presence. I stood taller, moved with predatory grace, spoke with absolute certainty. I was no longer just Emilia Hayes, the human race nurse. I was Luna Queen, and these were my people to protect. "We're not sneaking in," I continued. "We're walking through the front door, and anyone who tries to stop us will regret it." Dominic's hand found mine, our fingers intertwining. Together, I agreed. We approached at sunset, 20 of Dominic's best warriors at our backs. The rest stayed behind to secure our own territory. This was a strike mission, swift, brutal, final. Guards challenged us at the gate. I simply looked at them. Through our completed bond, I could sense their life forces, bright flames flickering in the darkness. With barely a thought, I reached out and squeezed. They collapsed unconscious but alive, weakened enough to be no threat. "Open the gates," I said calmly. One of our wolves obliged, and we walked through. More guards appeared, weapons raised. I gestured, and silver light exploded from my hands. It washed over Sebastian's wolves like a wave, and I felt their strength flowing into me, into Dominic, into our pack. "She's draining them," someone shouted. "Fall back, fall back." But there was nowhere to run. I was a black hole for their energy, pulling it in and redistributing it to where it was needed. Our warriors grew stronger, while our enemies grew weak. We carved through Sebastian's defences like a hot knife, through butter. The main house loomed ahead. Through my new senses, I pinpointed Sebastian inside, his life force burning bright with alpha power. And beside him, my mother, still alive, still complicit. Dominic kicked down the door. Sebastian waited in what looked like a throne room, all dark wood and expensive furnishings, built to intimidate. Marcus stood at his right hand, armed and ready. My mother stood to his left, her expression haunted. "The prodigal mate's return," Sebastian said dryly. "I have to admit, I didn't expect you to complete the bond. Bold move, surrendering yourself to Steele completely." "I didn't surrender anything," I replied. "I chose my fate, something you wouldn't understand." "Oh, I understand choice. I chose power over sentiment. I chose victory over honor." He gestured to Marcus. "Even Steele's most trusted chose me." Dominic's rage was ice cold through our bond. "You're dead, Marcus. You know that." "Maybe," the former beta replied, "but I'll die richer than I ever would have as your second." "Enough talk," Sebastian's eyes flashed. "Give me the girl, or everyone you love dies, starting with—" He gestured, and 2 wolves dragged someone into the room. A young woman, maybe 16, with my eyes and my mother's nose. My heart stopped. "Emilia," my mother whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "Who is that?" I demanded, though something inside me already knew. "Your sister," Sebastian said with cruel satisfaction. "Claire Hayes, born 2 years after you, taken by me when she was 3 years old. Your mother has spent the last 13 years working for me to keep this girl alive." The world tilted. I had a sister I'd never known existed, stolen as a toddler, held hostage for over a decade. "Mum?" My voice broke on the word. "He said he'd kill her." My mother's face crumpled. "He said if I didn't spy for him, didn't suppress your wolf, didn't deliver you when the time came, he'd kill my baby. I couldn't let him hurt her, Emilia. I know I hurt you. I know I betrayed you. But she's my daughter too, and I couldn't—" "Touching," Sebastian interrupted. "Now here's the new deal. Reject the bond with Steele and accept mine, or I kill both your mother and your sister right here, right now." Claire, my sister, met my eyes. She was terrified, but trying to be brave. So young, so innocent. She'd spent most of her life as Sebastian's prisoner because of me, because of what I was. Through the bond, I felt Dominic's steady presence, his strength flowing into me, his certainty that whatever I chose, we'd face it together. I looked at Sebastian, at Marcus, at the wolves surrounding us. I felt their life forces, each one distinct, each one mine to command if I chose. "No," I said simply. "No?" Sebastian's expression darkened. "Girl, you don't seem to understand." "I understand perfectly." Silver light began emanating from my skin, growing brighter with each word. "You think you can control me with threats? You think I'll sacrifice my mate, my bond, my power to save them? But you've miscalculated." The light intensified, filling the room. I felt my power expanding, reaching out, touching every life force in the entire compound. "I'm not just a healer anymore, Sebastian. I'm a Silver Moon Lunar bonded to an Alpha King. I don't have to choose between saving my family and keeping my power." My eyes met his, blazing silver. "I can do both." I reached out with my ability and found Claire's life force. The chains holding her weren't just physical, they were metaphysical. A compulsion worked into her very essence. Sebastian had bound her to him years ago, making her unable to escape, even if freed. "I see what you did to her," I said softly, "and I'm going to undo it." I poured healing into my sister, burning away 13 years of psychic chains. She gasped, her eyes going wide, and the wolves holding her stumbled as the compulsion keeping them loyal to Sebastian faltered. "What are you doing?" Sebastian snarled. "Freeing them, all of them." I expanded my power further, touching every wolf in Sebastian's service. I felt the forced loyalty, the fear-based bonds, the artificial pack connections he'd created through dominance and cruelty, and I severed them all, Wolves throughout the compound cried out as their false bonds shattered. Some collapsed. Others stood frozen, suddenly free for the first time in years. No! Sebastian's power exploded outward, his alpha authority trying to reclaim them. But he was fighting both me and Dominic now. Two forces united. He couldn't match us. Marcus lunged at Dominic with his silver blade. The two former brothers clashed in a brutal exchange. But Marcus was alone now, his backup freed from compulsion and uncertain who to fight for. Dominic was not alone. He had me, had our bond, had the amplified strength of our completed connection. The fight lasted seconds. Dominic disarmed Marcus, drove him to his knees, and pressed a clawed hand to his throat. "Wait," I said. Dominic paused, though his rage burned through our bond. I approached Marcus, crouching to look him in the eye. "You betrayed us for money, for power. Was it worth it?" "You don't understand what it's like," Marcus said bitterly. "Always second, always in his shadow, never enough. I understand better than you know." I placed my hand on his chest, feeling his life force, twisted, corrupted by years of jealousy and resentment. "But you had a choice. We all have choices. You made yours." I withdrew my hand. "Dominic, he's yours to judge." Dominic's claws tightened fractionally. "You're banished, Marcus, stripped of rank, pack, and territory. If I ever see you again, I'll kill you where you stand." It was a mercy Marcus didn't deserve. But I felt Dominic's grief through our bond, the pain of betrayal by someone he'd trusted like a brother. Killing Marcus would hurt Dominic more than the traitor. "Get out of my sight," Dominic growled. Marcus fled, broken and alone. That left Sebastian. The former alpha stood alone now, his wolves freed, his beta gone, his leverage eliminated. But he wasn't done yet. "You think you've won?" He laughed, harsh and desperate. "Your children playing at power. I've been building my empire for 30 years. You can't just—" He lunged for Claire, silver knife appearing in his hand. I moved on pure instinct. My power exploded outward, seizing Sebastian's life force in an iron grip. Not to drain it or extinguish it, but to transform it. I felt his wolf, the source of his strength, his speed, his authority, and I simply took it away. Sebastian screamed as his wolf was ripped from his soul. It was more brutal than death, more final than any physical wound. Without his wolf, he was just a human, mortal, powerless. He collapsed gasping, his eyes wide with shock. "What have you done?" "Shown you mercy," I said quietly. "You wanted to see what a silver moon Luna could do. Now you know." I turned to my mother and sister, my heart aching with 13 years of missed moments. "Mum, Claire, it's over." Claire broke from her captors and ran to me. I caught her in a fierce hug, feeling her tears against my shoulder. "You're real," she sobbed. "Mum talked about you all the time, but I thought you were just a story. I'm real, I'm here, and I'm never letting anyone take you again." My mother approached slowly, her face ravaged by guilt. "Emilia, I don't expect forgiveness. What I did—" I held up a hand, still holding Claire with the other arm. "You made an impossible choice. I'm not saying it was right, but I understand why you did it. I should have found another way. Should have fought harder. You survived. You kept Claire alive, and now we're going to heal this family." I extended my hand to her. Together. She took it, tears streaming freely, and I pulled both her and Claire into my arms. My family, broken and complicated and imperfect, but mine. Dominic's hand settled on my shoulder, his pride and love flowing through our bond. Behind us, his wolves, our wolves, secured the compound. It was over. Sebastian was powerless. Marcus was banished. Claire was free. And my mother, for all her betrayals, had a chance at redemption. 3 months later, I stood before the assembled pack, Dominic at my right hand, and marvelled at how much had changed. The territory wars were over. Sebastian's empire had crumbled without him, and we'd absorbed most of his packs, not through conquest, but through genuine unity. Wolves who'd been forced into service now chose to stay, drawn by fair leadership and the promise of protection. We'd established a sanctuary for suppressed wolves like I'd been, those raised human, those who'd never known their heritage. Celine ran the training programs, teaching them control and confidence. Dr. Chen researched bloodlines, helping wolves understand their unique gifts. Claire had moved into the compound, thriving under pack protection. She was discovering her own abilities, not healing like mine, but an affinity for animals and growing things. She was happy, finally safe, finally free to be a child. My mother worked tirelessly to earn redemption. She used her knowledge of Sebastian's network to help us root out the last of his loyalists. It would be a long road to fully regaining trust. But she walked it with determination and humility. Marcus had disappeared. Rumours occasionally surfaced of a rogue wolf causing trouble in distant territories, but nothing confirmed. Part of me hoped he'd found peace. The rest of me didn't care as long as he stayed gone. And Dominic and I, we'd grown into our bond. The initial intensity had mellowed into something deeper, more sustainable. He was my mate, my partner, my equal in all things. We governed together, fought together, built this new world together, which made what I was about to announce even more significant. My pack, I said, my voice carrying through the great hall. 3 months ago, I stood here as a stranger to this world. Today I stand as your Lunar Queen, grateful for your acceptance and your trust. Hundreds of wolves watched me with respect, with loyalty, with genuine affection. It still amazed me. We've been through trials that would have broken lesser packs, betrayal, war, loss. But we emerged stronger because we chose unity over division, mercy over vengeance, hope over fear. Dominic's hand found mine, our fingers intertwining as they always did. Today, I have one more announcement. I placed my free hand on my stomach, feeling the tiny flutter of new life growing there. In 6 months, you will meet the first heir born to a silver moon lunar in 200 years. The hall erupted in cheers. Wolves howled their approval, the sound echoing off the walls. Through our bond, I felt Dominic's fierce joy, his protective instinct already extending to the life we'd created. When the noise finally died down, I continued. This child will be born into a world we built together. A world where bloodlines are celebrated, not hunted, where power is shared, not hoarded, where family, chosen, and blood is sacred. I looked at Claire, beaming in the front row beside our mother, at Celine, whose cold exterior had thawed into genuine friendship, at Dr. Chen, who'd become a beloved uncle figure, at all the wolves we'd saved, healed, united. This, I said, squeezing Dominic's hand as his other hand covered my stomach protectively, is just the beginning. Later, in the privacy of our chambers, Dominic pulled me into his arms. Lunar Queen, he murmured against my hair. Mother of my heir, my mate, my love, my everything. How did I get so lucky? I saved your life in an ER, I reminded him, smiling. Pure fate. The best fate. He tilted my chin up, his gold eyes soft with adoration. I love you. Emilia Steele. I love you too, I said, and kissed him. The bond hummed between us, complete and unbreakable. Our child grew safe within me. Our pack thrived around us, and the future stretched out bright and full of promise. I'd been an ordinary nurse 3 months ago. Now I was a Lunar Queen, a healer, a warrior, a bridge between worlds. But more than any of that, I was exactly who I was meant to be, and this was only the beginning. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe, like and share this video to continue listening to this type of story daily, and also to appreciate this community too. I would like to hear your wonderful opinion about this story. Please comment below.